Welcome to the Dr. Rewire podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rewire. Today, we've got an exciting guest with you. He is here. He's not only the youngest person to ever take a company to public on the stock market. He's a friend. He's an inspiration. He's part of the Aspire Tour. He's helping entrepreneurs all over the world. Please help me welcome my friend, Dan Fleyshman. Dan, thanks for being here, buddy.
Absolutely. It's great.
I'm going to dive right in. Let's talk business because that's you're the expertise. You and I were having a conversation yesterday. We were at lunch, and you were talking about how you decided to grow a business. And you started your journey in the world of business at the age of 17. Let's talk about that. What did you do? What was you thinking? How did you start the whole game?
So I was working 3 jobs simultaneously. I was at the stadium selling peanuts and Cracker Jacks, working up and down the stands there, working at Ruby's Diner with a sailor's cap on, and then working for a stockbroker. And I saved up $43,000 over those 3 years. So let's call it 15 grand a year, basically. And I thought I was going to use this $43,000 to go to San Diego State University. 17 and a half years old, I decided to start a clothing line. And I printed a logo, just a big catchphrase, "Who's your daddy?"
Yeah.
And I was just white shirts with big lettering on it. And I sold 100 shirts for $15 each at lunch. I'm a millionaire.
In your high school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, $1,500. I'm an actual millionaire at this point. And so I decided I'm going to go to a convention called Magic. And that's where my whole life changed. I wasn't even allowed to get my badge because we weren't 18 years old.
Okay, yeah.
I wasn't allowed to check in for my hotel room. And so we actually got really lucky. I didn't get to tell you this yesterday. There was a taxi cab outside that we were going to go try to find how we could make business cards because you can't come in without a business card.
Okay.
And so he took us to a grocery store that had a vending machine type thing that makes business cards that he happened to know of. And we paid $5 to make 10 business cards out of a freaking machine. And that's what we used to get, I still have the cards. That's what we used to get into the convention. And anyways, we went crazy. Instead of getting a 10-foot booth, we got a 20-foot booth.
Because bigger is better.
Oh yeah. We were going to be huge, 20 feet. And we get there and there's this massive $1 million booth for Sean John. On the other side, Fubu had the whole walkway. Fubu's booth was like a castle with Damon John. And so we got lucky because all the buyers for Macy's and Nordstrom's and all these streetwear stores were hanging out outside waiting for their appointments for those 2 big brands. And so we got to meet and interact with all these people. We wrote over $1 million in orders in one show. In one shot. 17 years old, makes $1 million in orders. Yeah. What's going through your head at that time? Like logically, emotionally, what's going through the process of your brain at that moment? What's going through my head is how am I going to manufacture $1 million of clothes? I don't even have like the right manufacturer for this. And you got to come up with around $400,000 to produce it because your costs are like $300,000 or $400,000 plus shipping to make something. So typically when you're making any product, you're hoping for a 2x or 4x return off of your manufacturing costs. And so in this case, it was going to cost me around $300,000 or $400,000, which I didn't have. I told you guys I had 43 grand saved up. Yeah. And so we had to figure out what was called factoring. Factoring is where it's kind of like a bank loan, but they loan it against the paper, which is the purchase order. Okay. But they'll only do it against the big names. Nordstrom's happened to be one of our orders. Yeah. Mr. Rags, Dr. J's, Miller's Outpost, those stores were pretty big or really big. And so we got a loan for those. But I also got orders from like local retailers that had 1 store, 2 store, 3 store. Couldn't get a loan for those. So we didn't get a full amount. They gave us $250,000, not the full amount we needed to make all these clothes. So we had to pull out of strings, borrow money, take some investors like to get the money because we had real orders, so it was a good deal, but we had to put it all together. And so that was the first thing going through my mind is, how am I going to manufacture this and how am I going to pay for it? Yeah. What's the emotion though? I mean, like I get it, right? Like, oh my God, I just sold $1 million in orders. Like, how am I going to manufacture? That's the logical thought. Yeah. What's the emotional thought? Like I'm 17 years old. I just got $1 million in orders. Is there emotional high? Is there like? Yeah, my bubble got burst real quick. So I call my older brother, who's 13 years older. My partner, he calls his dad, who was running like a $200 million truck company. And both of them said the same thing at the same time. What are you doing? Close the booth down and come home. We're like, we just wrote $1 million in orders. Yeah. And there's more. There's another day of like convention to go. And both of them literally said the exact same word for word. What are you doing? Close your booth down, come home. And the reason for it is we had no infrastructure. Who's going to make your clothes? Who's the manufacturer? Who's going to ship it? Who's going to send the invoices and purchase orders and collections? Who's going to follow through? Who's going to make the merchandising displays that go into the retail stores? Who's going to do the pricing? Do you guys even know what the retail pricing is? Like, they just were bombarding us with questions. And so my emotional high lasted for 4 seconds. Yeah. And then they came in and bursted my bubble real quick. So then when you're in that moment, right? Like everyone's bursting your bubble. You're in that space. You're like, I don't know any of this.
How do you move yourself forward? Because I think a lot of people get stuck in that. I've got an idea. I want to do something. I make some sales, but I don't know any of this infrastructure. Like, what did you do at that time? Since I got to learn all this. Did you learn all this? Did you outsource or outsource it? What'd you do?
So back then versus now is two different worlds.
For sure.
This is 1999.
Yeah.
This is 25 years ago. And
Don't say that. That sounds scary. 25 years, is a long time.
A quarter of a century ago. That's how old I am. Back in my days. Yeah, I didn't have a smartphone. They didn't exist.
Yeah.
There was no iPhone. There was no way. There was no Instagram. There was no YouTube. There was nothing for me to go learn on where kids now or entrepreneurs now of any age can learn everything in seconds. So the way I learned was I literally went to downtown Los Angeles to what's called the California Mart or the Apparel Mart. And I just walked floor to floor. There's a bunch of stores there. And I walked floor to floor. And someone finally said, go to meet this guy. Someone else said, meet that lady, meet this guy. And I walked around downtown LA. And I stumbled upon the perfect guy. His name was Christian Wicks, and his dad was Christopher Wicks. Walk in there, the guy's kind of like Austin Powers and has a thick British accent. He's got the cool look and the cool car outside, literally from the movie.
Yeah.
But he owned the rights and the manufacturing to Fender guitars. English Laundry was his brand, which he sold for like $110, $120 million later. Hang 10, Ocean Pacific, Body Glove, LA Gear. He was like the guy. And the son is exactly my age, who I'm still friends with 25 years later.
That's cool.
And he just took me under his wing. He took a piece of the company. He helped us deal with, the manufacturing because he was a full warehouse manufacturing. He helped us with design. And he introduced us to the game. And then we got a showroom, like an office in New York at the Empire State Building. Same thing. Walking around, meeting different people, meeting some people from FUBU, meeting some people from Jordache and Perry Ellis and different brands, and just talking with everyone and asking for advice.
It's amazing that so many people are afraid to do that. I think like we were talking about this as well, like in the digital world, so many people are afraid of talking to people, like picking up the phone or just having a conversation with someone. And you're so good at that. That's what's helped you build, the network of relationships you have. When you start talking to people, you start learning about them, you say, okay, I'm going to go build this company. And then you build a clothing line, and then you decide to sit and say, okay, let me take this. So what was the height of the clothing line as you built it?
Yeah, so the very next year, that same gentleman, Christopher Wicks, got us a $9.5 million deal with the Starter Apparel Group. They had the licenses just for the UK for Starter and all these different brands. And so all of a sudden we
like the Starter jackets
exactly.
back in the day? Oh yeah, I remember those. They were huge.
And so he made the deal really amazing for us. 8% of gross sales plus 3% marketing fee. And all costs were done by them to manufacture and design. And so all of a sudden we had shoes, jeans, jackets, a full line that would have cost us hundreds of thousands, if not $1 million or $2 million, to make a full line. They were making for us every season. Not just for free, but paying for it all.
Yeah.
And so it was an amazing scenario for us. And so we started getting into more and more chain stores because we were now an international brand. They're marketing overseas. We're marketing in America. We're getting some seriously great stores. We're getting into all the cool streetwear stores. And remember, we're just a slogan. But we made the slogan into a brand.
Let's talk about that. Let me go right there because that's exactly what I was thinking, right? Like you're talking about Starter, you're talking about all these designers that were out there, right? Like literally the brand is the idea and the image they're putting it. So you created the idea, who's your daddy, right? Like obviously, everyone in the 90s knew who's your daddy, right?
There's a big music song, yeah.
So let's talk about the concept of a brand and what that means in some, like a brand is it an idea? Is it an entity? Is it a structure? How do you think about that?
So brand is a feeling. When someone says a name, you have a feeling about them. You have an aura about them, or there's an initial thing that you think of when you hear it. If I say Nike, you think of the brand Just Do It, right?
Yeah.
I say Apple, you think of how beautiful the phone is. If I say Damon John, you think of the shark and like the guy that you've seen for 10, 15 years. Like you have an initial reaction to something, that's a brand. Same thing applies to restaurants. I could say Carbone, and you're like, you might have had a bad experience there, and I had an amazing one. I go there every week, and you hate it because of one waiter or one server or the valet guy was rude.
Yeah.
Right? That's a brand. The thing that you think about in that moment is the brand. And so, to me, to build a brand, you have to spread a message. And you have to live by it on a consistent basis because you don't know who's watching.
Speak more of that. You have to send a message. What is that? What do you mean by that specifically?
So, let's say you have a restaurant.
Okay.
Every single part of the restaurant, from before, during, and after, has to be good. And if any one of those is off, you might not like it. And you'll tell a lot of people about the fact that you don't like Carbone because the valet guy was rude, Valet Guy doesn't even work for Carbone.
Right.
That's an outside company. And you think of Carbone as like, oh man, I'm not going there.
Sure.
When the restaurant's amazing, it's gorgeous, it's packed, it's busy, the food's amazing. You don't think that because of the before. Before you even walked in, you had a bad experience with someone that's not even part of it. So trying to think about how can you fix every little detail so that when someone experiences it online, on social media, word of mouth, the valet guy, the front hostess, the bartender, the waiter, is the bathroom clean? Every little detail, and I know it sounds like a lot because it is a lot. Business is a lot. Every little detail has to be good. Otherwise, any one thing can ruin your brand.
It's interesting. So anything, I'll say it another way. Any one thing can ruin the feeling. The whole time it's about the experience that you're trying to give. So when someone puts on a clothing line, it's the experience that person, the feeling that they get from it.
When someone first sees a clothing brand, there's infinite amounts of options.
Sure.
Right? Your black shirt could either be $20, $100, $1,000, right?
Yeah.
What's the difference? The label in the back.
Yeah.
Not even the label on the front, because I don't even see a label on the front. The label that's behind your neck that no one on the planet sees. They cannot see behind your neck, right? You know.
Mm-hmm.
Only you know. And so every aspect of why you would pay $20, $100, or $1,000 for that exact black shirt comes from the brand. And so the before, during, and after has to happen. Before is you heard about the brand, you saw it online, you saw a celebrity, an athlete, a person, someone wore that shirt or wore that brand and made you think of like, I want that shirt.
Yeah.
And then the during is you're in the retail store. You're at Nordstrom's or Saks or online, and you see that shirt like, oh, I remember I saw David Beckham wear that shirt. Yeah. I saw Tom Brady wear that shirt. I saw this person wear that shirt. Or I love this brand for that reason. You have that emotional feeling to pay $20, $100, or $1,000, whatever that tier is. And then the after is, does it feel good? Does it come in a nice package? What does the box look like? Was the tags too hard to take off? Did I need scissors to take it off because it was annoying? Every part of that experience afterwards is important too. And then, did someone stop you in the street? Did wife, a friend, a dad, a mom, someone say, oh, honey, that's a nice shirt? What's the after part? And then after is you washed it. Did it shrink?
Mm-hmm.
Was it durable?
Sure.
Everything is important for a brand before, during, and after.
Because everything is about the feeling that it's actually giving, the experience that it's giving. So let's, because a lot of our audience here is a little bit more healthcare focused, healthcare entrepreneurs in that space. So if you looked at a brand from a standpoint of healthcare, how would you position that? Like, hospital, one brand, you got clinics at another brand, dentist office at another brand. Can we talk about the experience on that side, like as a patient somewhere?
Sure. So the doctor's office is the same concept.
Mm-hmm.
They hear about the brand like, that's a good doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Do they actually know that? They don't know.
Yeah.
They know that person went to a good school. Oh, they went to Harvard Medical School. Okay, that's a good doctor. They actually don't know. They just went through school at that place, and it's hard to go there. It's hard to pass, etc. But they don't actually know, as a human that's going to be the patient, doesn't know that. They just know the credibility of Harvard Medical, right?
Right.
Or whatever, Yale, any school. So the first thing is this a good doctor? Or is it an affordable doctor? Meaning I'm going to go to Tijuana, Mexico because it's going to be affordable to go there, right? There's a reason from a brand perspective that someone chooses to go to the Mayo Clinic or go to Tijuana, right? The most expensive here or it's the most affordable here or the cheapest here. Then, once they get there, the experience part. Was the front desk check-in clerk helpful?
Yeah.
Did they say, oh, it'll be a few minutes, or did they not say anything? Were they just looking at their paperwork or typing on the computer, not looking at me? Did they just say, take a number and go sit down? Like, what does the waiting room look like? Is it a mess?
Sure.
Is there magazines on the floor? Is it messy? Is the bathroom far? Is it locked? Is there, like, all those things are part of the brand to make me decide if I'm going to go back to that place. Because typically, you go back to that same doctor's office or chiropractor or whatever over and over and over for years, and you recommend it to your friends and family.
Yes. And so when you're thinking through, let's take that same example, because you said it really well, like high-end brand or Tijuana, Mexico, right? In today's world, what do you recommend? Do you recommend being in a higher echelon brand, or do you recommend being a little bit more commoditized and more of a Walmart model?
So here's what's interesting. When we go through recessions, depressions, or financial times, like weird financial times, luxury market, the companies stay the same or go up in value. The stocks literally go up. 2008, horrible financial crash. Everyone's going crying. Go look at the stocks of Louis Vuitton, LVMH. Go look at Chanel.
Yeah.
None of them went on sale. Their stocks went up. So the luxury market will always have money or delusion. Like they think they're going to fight through it. And so
I
because
like that. They had to have money or delusion. Either way, I've never heard that. That's good.
And so the point is the luxury market will always be there and they're always willing to spend money. However, the masses spend way more money.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you a quick example. How big do you think Saks Fifth Avenue is versus Walmart's?
Not even close, right?
Like Saks Fifth Avenue couldn't pay their taxes for the week.
Right.
Literally, their annual sales couldn't pay their taxes for the week.
Yeah.
It's Walmart. And so when you think about Walmart, Target, and those huge chains that are for the masses that are affordable, they crush the top tier brands. Saks Fifth Avenue, Nordstrom's, and all those brands could combine together, Neiman Marcus, etc. Like all of them wouldn't touch Walmart.
But I think that's also where you got to decide, as you wanting to build a brand, what kind of brand and business you want to build, right?
Absolutely.
Because you could be like, and I have nothing against Walmart or Target, but like you're selling commodities at that point versus a higher echelon is selling something that's a little bit more pristine, experience based. Would you agree?
Yes, but that shirt you're wearing, I could sell for $20 profitably, but I could also sell it for $1,000.
Right.
And so the commodity might not be an actual commodity. It might just be you're choosing the price point based on what you want the experience to be. The way I make that price point different is the brand, the boxing, the website, or the retail store, the experience part that has nothing to do with the actual shirt itself.
Got it.
I could literally go outside in Miami and set up a pop-up shop. And on the other corner across the street, set up a pop-up shop in that exact same shirt for $20 and that exact same shirt over there for $1,000. And I would sell both all day long.
Such an interesting way to look at it, right?
The exact same shirt.
Yeah.
Not change a thing.
And is there anything, is it about the experience or just the pricing?
Yeah, the pop-up shop across the street is going to be way nicer.
Yeah.
I'm going to have champagne in there. I'm going to have people can do caviar.
Right.
I'm going to make a whole experience across the street. And so there'll be massage chairs in there. There'll be hostess and like a concierge and a dressing room. This one is just a pop-up tent. It's $20. Let's go. You want,
Rack, just put them on the rack.
Yeah, it's on.
Or fold them up, put them up. Go.
Right.
It's interesting.
Pack it yourself.
Pack it yourself. It's interesting that like there's such a lesson in branding, and I hope you guys are watching. Right, a lot of the people, because you talk a little about personal branding, which I'm going to get into in a second, but I'd love to talk about, just going back in history a little bit, because I'd love to talk about how you started the clothing line, but it wasn't the clothing line that actually you took public. It was actually a drink line that you took public.
Yeah.
Tell us about the story of how you developed that. There's some of the same principles that I'm hearing already that you developed to take that to public, which is what really exploded your life at some point.
So the brand was the same.
Yeah.
Same name as what I took public, but it was under the energy drinks as the main focus. And the reason for
what happened to the shirting, the clothing line?
That was still going.
It was still going.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just became second tier to me from a focus perspective because I didn't sell to the retail stores. The guys did. The team did, so they didn't need me. On the energy drink side, it was me. And I ended up hiring a national sales manager and a sales team, but I literally had to go to every Budweiser, every Coors, every Miller, every Pepsi, all of them myself. We had 43 distributors, and I went to all of them multiple times over the course of 4 years to really spend time with them. So the energy drink, around 21 years old, I got approached by investment bankers about going public, and I wasn't planning on taking the clothing line public. And to me, there's a huge void in the energy drink space. There was 900 drinks on the market, but they all tasted like cough syrup. Their main ingredient is taurine. And taurine tastes like cough syrup, but it's useful because that's what gives you the energy.
Sure.
So I wanted to find a chemist that could figure out how can I turn down the taurine, add something like sucralose to still have a good flavor to it, and make it taste better and still be as functional. And how can I make it 0 sugar, 0 carbs, 0 calories? So searched around. Again, the internet wasn't like that big of a thing back then. It was there, but it wasn't as prevalent. And we found a chemist. He met us at a restaurant in Newport Beach, Irvine area. And we sat there, and he brought a bunch of little cups, little white cups. And he poured out into them with like no label on the cans. And he said, if you can pick the flavor that is my favorite, I'll license it to you for a year. And if you go do $1 million in sales, then you can have it in perpetuity. And if you do that in less than 1 year, I'll also give you the green tea energy drink. Nobody has that. I see a red one. There's a bunch of cups. I see a red one. This is no joke. I see a red one, and I grab that one. I taste it, And I look at my partner. I said, "This is the one." And the guy, the chemist, he's like 70-something years old. He's like, "You're not even going to try any other ones?" I was like, "No, this is the one." And whenever I tell the story, it sounds fake. Right?
No, your certainty sounds more powerful.
And my partner looks at me like, he's drinking it after me, and it's cranberry pineapple. And the guy was like, "You're right. That's it." He said he brought it to Red Bull and they turned it down because they want to stick with their flavor.
Sure.
And I always joke. I said, "Yeah, the cough syrup flavor," but it worked for them. That's some people like it almost like Listerine. Like the Listerine, it doesn't have to have that stinging effect. They do that for the marketing, basically.
Yeah.
You could explain it better, like a placebo concept. But the Red Bull, people they're used to it. They know that's what they're going to experience. And anyway, so we do that. We do the deal. That same year, you can look on the cover of what's called BevNet magazine, BEVNET. We won Flavor of the Year out of 900 drinks.
It's insane.
And we're the little engine that could.
Right.
Right. We're up against Red Bull, Monster, Rockstar, all these massive corporations. Coca-Cola just bought Full Throttle. Like we're up against 800-pound gorillas. Like, crazy. We win Flavor of the Year. He gives us the green tea, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, 0 calories. Our cans are bright yellow, bright red, bright silver, bright green.
Okay.
All the other cans we're up against, black and silver. All of them. And so when you go to a cooler, we stood out visually because you see a big red can or a big yellow can, and we made it look like spray paint with "Who's Your Daddy?"
Okay.
That's a very bold, aggressive thing, right?
Yeah.
So visually, what they say is eye level is bi level.
Okay.
So if you're in a cooler, if you're not above the navel, no one's going to buy your product.
Sure, I get that.
And the joke is, I could wrap a $100 bill around a $3 can at the bottom, and no one will pay $3 for a $100 bill because they can't see it.
Because they can't see it, right?
And so we went out there, got into these different retailers, different distributors, and the next 4 years, from 2005, 2009, was just a blur. All I did was sell.
And you didn't sell. I mean, who are you selling to? Like, talk about the stories of this, because you started selling. Because you're really good at creating distribution chains. That's what I found about you. Like, you're really great at finding the people that open up distribution chains. Can you tell the story of how you got into that world?
Yep. So first things first was I wanted someone near us. Our warehouse was in Carlsbad, California. So I went and talked with the Budweiser in Orange County. And I made an offer to the guy running it. I said, "I will give you a full semi-truck full of drinks, which is 6,400 cases. Okay, I'll give it to you, and you can pay me later on consignment." By the way, it's a lot of money for me to float.
Sure.
And it's a gamble that he's going to sell it. But I knew that what I told him was, I'll get in the cars with them. I'll get in those big Budweiser trucks. I'll sit in the passenger seat, and I'll go sell it myself.
Yeah.
Just to open up distribution. Because when you sell into a grocery store, a liquor store, a convenience store, a restaurant, a bar, they're not going to buy your drinks once. They're going to buy it weekly or monthly, depending on how it sells. And I believed in my product. So I would go see like 20 to 25 locations per day. I would walk in with the Budweiser guy, wearing my Who's Your Daddy t-shirt, my Who's Your Daddy hat, and then I'd have girls and guys in other trucks, and we'd have like 12 to 18 people just driving around all day. But 25 times 12, we'd see 300 stores in a day.
It's amazing.
Within a week or two, we'd see thousands of stores in Orange County. Bada bing, bada boom. We're moving crazy. We were doing 4 truckloads, 4 semi-trucks a week for a while because of the fact that we were getting all the stores in the area. And so he then helped us by calling Tucson, Arizona, Phoenix, Las Vegas, started calling all these other cities for us to get us other Budweisers. And then competitors started hearing about it. Mm-hmm. So we were going to go with Budweiser for Vegas, ended up going with Southern Wine and Spirits. Southern Wine and Spirits is the largest alcohol distributor in America. But the Budweisers asked us not to do it with them in other areas because they didn't want to be competing. But in Las Vegas, they understood because Southern Wine and Spirits owns the casinos. Like they are.
Yeah.
Every major alcohol you see, that's what they were doing. And so, anyways, there's a chicken and the egg, though. When you go to a distributor, they want to know that the stores are going to buy it.
They're going to buy it, sure.
Right? When I go meet with Costco and Ralph's and Vaughn's and CVS and Smith's and Circle K, they want to know there's a distributor to bring it over.
Sure.
And so I did that every time. All of my meetings were the very, very exact same. Ready?
Okay, this is good.
Yes, this is real life. So, I'm super excited that I'm finally get to see you here, 7-Eleven. What's cool is that...
Why you gotta go to 7-Eleven?
What's that?
Why you gotta go to 7-Eleven?
I'm going to
just because I'm in you.
Each of these chains I'm seeing, I'm going to actually see Budweiser at 12 o'clock. I'm seeing Costco at 4 o'clock. And I have a big meeting with Smith's at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
So what I want to figure out is how many you want to order. I said the exact same sentence every time. I would mention the distributor I'm going to see.
Yep.
I'd mention their main competitor, which would be something like Circle K, someone competitive to 7-Eleven,
Yep.
right? Another liquor store, convenience store, and then someone aspirational, Costco, Smith's, which was like the main character in their city. And by doing that, I hit all three things in their minds. One, the buyer doesn't want to get fired.
Yeah.
So they only want to buy something that's going to convert or work. So by telling them I'm going to meet with their competitors already in their competitors, that removes that fear. The next part is I mentioned that I'm going to be with the distributor. I remove that fear. And then I say something aspirational, which makes them not want to miss out.
Sure.
And I hit three emotions in one sentence. And if you notice, I didn't ask if they're going to buy. I asked how many they're going to buy.
How many?
The reason I don't remember anyone saying no is I never asked them to.
That's so powerful,
I
right?
never literally asked them if you're going to buy ever. Just once.
You literally assume the sale all the way through.
Of course. What do
Yeah.
you mean you're not going to buy? That's not even an option. Not buying is not an option. I cannot remember out of 55,000 stores one time someone saying no. And again, that could be my delusion, but it never happened
That's amazing.
at all. If I took 17 lie detector tests, I would pass every single time because it didn't happen. I never asked them if they're going to buy it.
So why do you think people like get into that position now? And I'm going to come back to actually you taking this thing public and then that experience. But why do you think people don't just come in with that fortitude in a sales process when they're saying, hey, when you like that with that strength?
You have to have extreme confidence in your product. Because if you don't, who will?
Yeah.
If you're not passionate about your clothing or your energy drink or your phone case or your shoe or whatever that thing is that you're trying to sell, if you don't, then who will?
Yeah.
And confidence is contagious. When you're excited, when you're happy, when you walk down the street and you smile at someone, they typically smile back.
Sure.
Unless you're in New York or Chicago in a tough city or it's too cold, maybe that's not the point. But if you're in most cities or it's sunny outside and you smile at someone, they'll typically smile back. It is contagious. And so the confidence, if you exude it about your product, and the way you do that is you actually like what you're selling. Like you actually believe in the thing.
Yeah.
And if you do that and you basically put them in a position where there is no other option but to buy it. If you go in there and you're like, well, if you buy it and it doesn't work out, I'll buy it back. That's not confidence.
No.
That's going to be in the contract anyways, by the way.
Yeah.
That's already going to happen. You don't need to say that. Well, I know you're doing really well with Red Bull and Monster, but if you could just try this. No. They just buy more Red Bull and Monster then.
Right.
Forget them. This is the one. I'm the flavor of the year. I'm the best product. They're $2.99. I'm $1.99. There's 8.4 ounces. I'm 16 ounces. I also have an 8.4 ounce option if you want. Like, whatever you think they might say no to or have hesitation about, have the answer before it even starts.
I love that. I love all of that. Right? Let's go to the point. You're going public.
Yes.
Right? You're going to this point. You're going public. And this is really why I wanted to bring you here, because I want to talk about the mindset of 23 years old, taking the thing public. What's going through your head? What's the stresses you're dealing with? What's that whole world like for you?
So it takes around $2 million in 2 years of legal and accounting headache. And the biggest headache is you hire an accounting team, and then you hire an auditor that audits the accounting team. You hire an auditor from the SEC to audit your auditor that audits your accounting team. And then the SEC audits your SEC auditor that audits your auditor that audits your accounting team.
Right.
And then they do a review. That's why it takes 2 years and $2 million, because the accounting and legal fees to do that is insane. And so that part was hard because I want to go sell.
Yeah.
I want to be at a local 7-Eleven. I want to be at Circle K. I want to be at Smith's and Ralph's. I want to be at Costco handing out samples. I want to be posting on MySpace. I want to be posting. I want to be at the NASCAR race giving out samples. I want to be in it. I want to be at military bases. I want to be everywhere, not in my lawyer's office, not in my accounting office, not explaining to my lawyer, my accountant, not talking to my accountant about my lawyer and the auditor about all of this. That was the headache. But it's the necessary evil. It's part of the process because it is so rare to go public when you really think about
super rare.
How many companies actually go public? Not that many. And so when there's only thousands of companies that ever go public out of the hundreds of millions of companies that exist, it's a very finite amount. And so during that process, I learned a lot, and it's a big headache, but it's worth it if you get it right. And
Couldn't agree.
April 1st, 2005, we did it. I was 23 years old, and life changed because in that moment, I could use my shares to do deals. Mm-hmm. I could hire employees or executives that I wanted, and I could give them stock options.
Yeah.
I could go to big chains or big brands like, hey, I'll give you stock in the company. Hey, you're going to be my manufacturer. If you do this type of manufacturing for me this fast at this price, I'll give you 100,000 shares, or I'll give you $1 million in shares. I could do deals with public shares. And it's all fully reported. It's all very public. But by doing that, I had power. And it was money that typically you don't have cash like that when you're a private company.
One of the things that I hear a lot in the way that you do deals, and maybe so I'm learning for sure, and this is why like you as my mentor in this space is really, really powerful to me, is that you do deals with equity.
Yes.
In essence. Can you talk about like the mindset around that?
So people, when they have equity or they feel part of your deal or they have a percentage of your deal, they have a different passion to it. Mm-hmm. Typically, the reason people don't understand like why their employees won't work as hard as them, well, they don't own it, right? If you own 80%, 90%, 100% of the company,
yeah,
and they own 0, but you want them to work on Saturday at 7 p.m., why? I mean, you love it and you want them to like it, but
sure,
they're not going to love it the way you do. Why should they?
Right.
They have no ownership in it. And outside of the salary, what you pay them, or the hourly rate you pay them, why would they, or why should that happen? And so I like to have equity involved, or bonuses involved, or commissions involved, or surprises involved. I want there to be emotional attachment to my brand. Otherwise, what do they care?
Yeah.
They're going to be 9 to 5, and at 5:01, zoom, they're out of there. And I can't really blame them. I'm paying them for the 9 to 5 in that concept. And so I try to, like, whether it's sports card stores, we do like a bonus where it's a couple % of the gross sales, which can be a substantial amount of money when we do millions of dollars in revenue, right? We've done 36 million in sales out of that business.
It's amazing.
So we've paid almost $1 million in bonuses just from the sales.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for people, right? And so I like to incorporate, if I don't do equity, I'll do bonuses, or for management or executives, I'll do equity.
You're one of the most abundant people I know. You really are. And you exemplify this, the amount that you serve, the amount that you help people, the amount that you just give traditionally. And not untraditionally, to be very honest with you. And you do this with business, right? It's like you do more deals. What I see Dan Fleyshman, I'm Dan Fleyshman, and I own different businesses that I share partnerships in. But you don't operate in any of them.
No.
And I think that's a very different space for people. And I think that's one that I'm probably growing into. Not to say that I'm there by any capacity compared to where people are, but like you've really owned that. Like you don't get into operations, you delegate operations, give them ownership. Am I correct?
Because I lived and breathed operations for the Who's Daddy brand. I lived and breathed all the operations for Victory Poker, the brand after that. I got into the social media agency and I did everything. And I did that for many, many years. And so for the first 15-ish years of my life, I was all in as operations.
Right.
Morning, noon, and night. And I realized it can't scale bigger than me.
Yeah.
If I'm the one doing everything, from secretary work to sales to management to lawyers to accounting to writing the checks to traveling to the conventions to building the convention booth, well, it can't scale more than me. And so I finally realized after the agency, when I hired a CEO to come on, Joey Carson, who to me was a big decision. This guy's got 30-year resume, big salary, equity, etc. That's a big decision to make, to bring someone on to be the CEO. And it changed my life forever. Because by doing that, he unshackled me from the office. From the last 15, 20 years of running all the businesses, I finally realized, whoa, I don't have to do everything. That was my ego thinking I had to be the secretary, the sales, the convention builder, and everything in between. Joey can deal with the lawyers. Joey can deal with the accounting. Joey can deal with sales. Joey can deal with the clients. Dan doesn't have to. Other people can do it just as well or better.
Yeah.
And so once I realized that, the wake-up call was, I can do deals where I bring on a quarterback, which is the CEO.
Yeah.
I want to open up a chain of sports card stores. Great. This person will be the CEO. They know sports cards inside and out. I want to get involved in restaurants. Oh, great. Jeff Fenster, he's amazing. He's going to run Everbowl. Yeah. He was the CEO. You know, he's the founder and creator of that thing. I want to go open up masterminds and events. Oh, this person was a CEO from one of these guys in the space. He'll be the CEO. He'll be the quarterback. He'll run this thing. Oh my gosh, I want to start a mortgage company. Bam, I'm going to hire her. Melissa, she's been doing mortgages for 20 years. She runs Elevator Mortgage. Every deal I have a quarterback. And they have equity, they have salaries, they have percentages, and they are all in. And if I weren't there for a week, it would run just fine. If I weren't there for a month, it would run just fine. I can help it. I can add the sizzle to the steak. But by doing joint ventures or having a quarterback, it changes everything.
When you start putting that quarterback in place, what do you do when you're a startup?
You got to inspire them.
You bootstrap it, right?
Yeah, you just won't be able to pay them the salary part.
Yeah.
At that point, when you're a startup, the equity is free. The equity is a theory.
Yeah.
People are like, my company's got a 10 million valuation. You have a business plan, sir.
Yeah.
Like, you have a piece of paper, like a PDF. And I'm hoping you have investment documents, a corporation, and a bank account, which a lot of people don't.
Sure.
Most pitches I get, people don't have any of that stuff. But they have a $10 million valuation, a $20 million valuation when they haven't even started yet. They literally don't have a corporation yet or a bank account. And so in the beginning, if you're like, I want that person to be the CEO, you have to inspire them with your vision, make them drink the Kool-Aid, and you got to give them a serious amount of equity. Could be 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%, depends on what the situation is. If they're the CEO, president, a bunch of the other executives, are they the main partner? Are they doing everything? Like, I would range anywhere from 5 to 50% depending on the deal.
It's very interesting because, we have a mutual friend, Damon John, and you watch Shark Tank, and they're so scarce with their percentage of their equity, and you're actually saying the opposite side.
That's silly.
That's the opposite side.
Here's why, and I'm very surprised that they don't ever say this theory or sentence on Shark Tank, by the way. When Damon John or Mark Cuban, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, you have some amazing, and then you have guests like Sarah Blakely and A-Rod. Here's what I would say when they're negotiating over a few percent. Do you think that me, my team, my staff, my network, and my social media can help your business by more than 5%?
Right.
Like if you're doing 4 million sales, do you think I can help you by more than 200 grand? And I'm A-Rod or Damon John or Mark Cuban?
All day long.
It's not 200 grand. I'm going to help you by millions of dollars or tens of millions of dollars, obviously. And so when we talk about 5% of a $4 million gross business, do you think that someone like A-Rod or Damon John or Sarah Blakely can help you by more than 200 grand? Well, if the answer is yes, what does the 5% matter? It's free. It's actually negative free because you're going to get so much more implied value by having A-Rod or Damon John, Mr. Wonderful, etc. And so it's crazy to me when some of these people that are on there presenting turn down a deal from someone like Damon or Mark Cuban, etc. Like actually crazy.
I'd give every cent. I'd say, you want 75%? Take it.
Right, because your business is doing 4 million, they're going to take you to 30
instantly.
And in 1 or 2 years compared to 5 or 10 years, you're gambling without them that you're going to do it in 5 to 10 years, hoping that it happens. Or you can increase your success rate dramatically by placing Damon John and A-Rod and Mr. Wonderful, Mark Cuban, Michael Rubin together, right? Get 1 to 4 sharks together onto your deal. What's going to happen? Your success rate goes to the roof. Your network goes to the roof because they can call the buyer from Target or Walmart.
Yeah.
Hey, Jennifer, we're going to take this in. Hey, John, can you bring this in? Compared to you trying to get the meeting for 19 months, they can just call Walmart.
Exactly. Completely right. Let's move to personal branding.
Yep.
Because this is kind of like a big thing that you've really moved a lot of energy into. Let's talk about what is a personal brand? What is the personal, now we're going back to feeling with the brand. What is that whole world of a personal brand and why do you think people need it in today's world?
So personal brand is mission critical. And it's the most talked about subject finally this last year. I have personalbranding.com. I have learnpersonalbranding.com. I have a book, How to Set Up Your Personal Brand. Like I am all in about the concept of personal branding because you have a personal brand whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
People think about you from your school, from your office, your neighbors, strangers. Everyone thinks about you and has a perception. What is that? What is Dr. Rewire? Who is he? What is that thing? Does he have kids? Does he have dogs? Does he work here? Does he live in this city? They think about you in different fashion. Has he been on this event? Did I see him on a podcast? Did I see him in an ad? Did I see him with Damon John? Where did I see? Like, they have a vision of you. So you have a personal brand whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
The decision is, are you going to tell your story or let them gossip about you? And so nowadays, you can finally...
Say that again because that was so good.
Your decision about your personal brand is, are you going to tell your story or let them gossip about you?
That's so good. Are you going to let them gossip about you? That's so good. Damon calls it controlling the narrative at the same token, right?
Absolutely.
It's so good. I agree.
And so nowadays, you can build a personal brand across all the platforms for free or cheap. You can literally do it for free. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, Threads, Free, 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 free. You can be tweeting for free. Going on podcasts is free. Going on the news is free. Going on your local news station is free. Doing Reddit posts is free. Like going and doing anything across social media is really free.
Yeah.
You can pour gas in the fire and spend money, but ultimately it's free.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you can stand out against your competitors. And the reason why it's super important is, especially if you have a product or service or business or a brand, if you are in the insurance space, or you are a car salesperson, or you are a personal trainer, when someone says those words, you want top of mind awareness.
Yeah.
Someone says insurance, oh, my buddy Max, he does it. Oh, Max lives in Tampa. He has 300 employees. He always wears a suit. That's a real person, by the way.
Yeah.
Because when I said the word insurance, I think of Max.
Right.
Just like that. Boom. And because of that, and I now refer, and you're like, oh, I actually need insurance for my company, from all my staff. And I say, oh, yeah, you should talk to Max. And I just send him $1 million a year in business because you start spending all this money and hiring for all your team. Max might not even know who I am. I know who Max is because of social media. I remember him in a suit. I remember he has 300 employees. I remember seeing a video of him talking to his sales team and ringing the bell for commissions and bonuses. Max may not even know who I am. But I just said, hey, oh, by the way, Dr. Rewire, meet Max. And I group DM you guys. And Max is like, I don't know who that guy is, but
Doesn't matter.
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
I think of him when I said the word insurance. And that could happen in personal training, fitness, doctor, whatever it is that you are into, whatever it is that you do. And it could also be your hobby or passion.
Yeah.
Pickleball, chess, poker, surfing. You want people to think about you when a keyword is said.
It's funny because you're sitting there saying about this stuff, and my brain is going into neurology. I swear it is. It's something called Hebb's Law, right? Nerves that wire together, fire together. So what you're doing is you're creating these associations around your image that you want to be displayed. And what happens is every time that nerve then gets fired, then you see that image with respect, like you're saying, Max, with a suit in that, right? How old do you think someone should be to start a personal brand?
0.
0, right? I think
Negative
you
0.
said it.
Baby girl boss, my baby, her Instagram account was 6 months before she was born.
It's amazing.
So negative 6 months is when you should start.
What do you think the biggest challenges in starting a personal brand today? And then the second question to that, what do you think the biggest challenge in starting a business in today's market is?
So the biggest challenge of personal brand is fear. Fear like the social media post isn't going to be good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough.
Yeah.
I'm not big enough. I'm not cool enough. I don't have enough followers. All these enough things that are completely irrelevant, like actually irrelevant. You will have a higher conversion rate, higher engagement if you have 4,000 followers versus 400,000.
Why is that?
The platforms, one, when someone has 400,000 followers, the masses are following them. They don't get to see all their content. Someone with 4,000 followers that's engaging with other people, that is a personal trainer, their followers care about personal training.
Yeah.
Someone that has 400,000 followers as a personal trainer, it's probably because of their looks or fun or some other content that made them get that famous.
Yeah.
And then there's not that much stickiness to that person compared to the 4,000 follower one that's living and breathing personal training, posting every day. And so the hard part is fear, getting over the fact that you've got 200 followers now, then 600, then 2,000, then 4,000, et cetera. You don't need hundreds of thousands. You literally don't. You don't. Having a niche following is actually way more important, way more useful. At our agency, we spend tens of millions of dollars paying influencers, and the majority of them are micro and mid-sized influencers. We still pay celebrities. We still pay those things for the look and feel and the brand of it, but ultimately it stems from niche influencers or micro influencers convert better. So the fear part is what holds people back. The time commitment people think that it takes versus what it really takes. You're already going to work, pull your phone out. You're already going to play pickleball, pull your phone out. You're already going to play chess or hiking or with the dogs or date night or fun. You're traveling with your kids. Like, you're already doing things. You already have your phone with you. Your phone is the nicest camera in the world. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, remember? Free.
Yeah,
So you already have your camera with you. Every platform is free, and you're already going to do the thing. But you pull your phone out. The fear is like, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. It literally doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you a thing. You have the phone already. You have an iPhone and Android. Amazing camera. All the platforms, amazing. Brand new, free. Everything about this is free. And I'm not even asking you to change your schedule. Just pull your phone out. And to answer your question about the business side, the hardest part for people is also just starting. They have this idea, like their uncle has always wanted to make a fishing lure for 24 years, and every time they go to Thanksgiving dinner, they have to hear about this fishing lure. They come back to holiday dinner, they hear about the fishing lure, and they don't just go start it. But you and I could start fishinglures.com tonight.
Yeah.
Buy the products on Alibaba, make a Shopify store, get a corporation, a trademark, really cool packaging, make it like the ocean and lake colors, and fishinglures.com is live and shipping by tomorrow.
It's like it can be that quick.
Literally that quick.
Yeah.
Like I'm not exaggerating.
Yeah.
And I can have @fishinglures on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and bada bing, bada boom. We have a live business that costs us less than $1,000 to start.
It's so amazing how quickly things can be made.
Nowadays, yeah.
Really, and you and I were talking about this too, and I love this concept that you said. Yeah, well, I paraphrased it, kind of what you said, but I'll let you say it. Like, one of the things that more often people try to become inventors in business, and you said I wouldn't invent anything, right? Like basically in this world, it's find the people that are the experts at doing something and then partner.
Absolutely.
Right? Can you talk more about that concept, that strategy? I think it kind of alluded to the partnership thing earlier, but just
my whole career, literally my whole career, has been in spaces where I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just making the wheel faster, better, stronger, more efficient. Example, there was already 900 energy drinks. Obviously in clothing, there was hundreds of thousands of brands. But in energy drinks, there was 900 drinks. I just made mine. Oh, they're $2.99? I'm $1.99. They're 8.4 ounce. I'll make 8.4 ounce and 16 ounces. And I'll make a little 5-hour energy shot. All three. I'm just being more efficient. Their cans are black and silver. I'll make mine bright colored, make it more fun. I started a poker site. 550 sites on the market. I became top 5 in the world in 10 months because we're the cool site. We're more efficient. We give back more rake, which is the money taken out per hand. Like we're just doing things that make it more efficient and make it more fun. We're giving out trips, flying people into Las Vegas. Like we're doing fun stuff to make us a cooler, right?
Right. It's an experience.
I didn't invent online poker. I'm just another poker site. Hoverboards. There was a hoverboard company that was $1,500 a hoverboard. Another one was $1,800. Who the heck can afford that? I don't care how rich you are.
Yeah.
You have 2 or 3 kids. What is that? $4,000, $5,000 for some hoverboards for a toy that they might or might not ride a couple times.
Right.
I made mine for less than half that price. It took them 4 to 8 weeks to ship. I did same day shipping.
I didn't know you were in the hoverboard
Yeah,
business.
it was called U-Wheels, the letter U.
Okay.
I had over 100 celebrities and influencers post it. Didn't have to pay any of them because they just wanted my hoverboards. I added lights and speaker system inside of it. So you could push the buttons and you can listen to lights and speakers. Cool. So I'm less than half the price. I got lights and speakers. Bada bing, bada doom. I did $5.9 million in sales in 4 months.
Jeez.
Spending nothing. Zero.
How did you get 100 influencers to endorse it?
I drove to their houses and I dropped it off on their doorstep and I knocked on their door.
I love that. It's so people don't do that.
I know. That's why I stand out. Literally just because I call people and show up is why I stand out.
Jeez.
Nothing I'm doing is rocket science, by the way. Nothing I'm doing is some spectacular thing. I just do a lot of things over and 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 over that are very basic. If you notice, I didn't say anything that's rocket science today. It's a lot of human nature stuff. It's a lot of human mentality stuff. It's a lot of like, how did you get them to ride around on your hoverboards? I dropped off the hoverboards. There's no rocket science to it.
But you know what? It is rocket science, though. I will tell you, it's may not be the actual strategy, but it's the mentality.
Yeah.
It's the mentality that, you know what? I've got to get my product. Here's what I've heard through this whole conversation, the last 45 minutes or so, is that I've got to get my product in someone's hands. And once they're in someone's hands, then I have to show them that this is the best thing that they'll have.
Right.
And once you, in essence, it's kind of the same strategy in business, I guess you can call it, right? Creating the customer. Once you create the customer, you know that they'll repeat buy. Or well, maybe not the hoverboards, but at least
they'll talk about it.
They'll talk about it. And that seems to be a common theme and thread. Is that, well, I guess it's consciously done too.
I just don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
I look at what's going on and make it more efficient. And every single company, all of them, I didn't invent anything. And I don't plan to invent anything. There's 8 billion humans now, and there's been billions of other humans in the past. And they have hundreds and hundreds of ideas. I don't know, you know better than me on the brain, how many ideas they're having per day. Just do the math on that. That means that there's hundreds of billions of ideas have happened. I don't think I'm mathematically capable or getting lucky to find something that hasn't come up.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. I don't think anybody can. And even when people pitch me and they're like, no one in the world has ever created this. Come on, man. Like, it's just a mathematical anomaly for that to be true. And that's okay. That's okay. But if you're making something Just show me why it's better. Why is it more efficient? Why is it more affordable? Why would someone choose you? And I've just done that my whole life.
You know, I think what I'm also hearing this from the mentality side, the brain side, is that we've heard this idea, this concept always that you got to be first or you got to be the best, create something new. And what you're saying to be wealthy or even inspired and wealthy in that capacity, you don't have to. It's not about that. And I love the idea and the lessons in that. I want to move to a little bit before we, kind of wind down a little bit. I want to move to your philanthropic.
It's a hard word.
It is a hard word. Philanthropic endeavors. You do so much. You just ran the world's largest toy drive. Went through 10, 12 cities. Yep. We're in Miami right now. Filled up the Heat Arena. And that what inspires you to do the work that you do with? Because you have your charity dinners. You do so many amazing things for people. And one of the reasons I'm really inspired by you because you bring so much of that to the forefront.
Why I do them is so people copy me. I want them to make their own version of a toy drive, make their own version of a tipping dinner, throw their own Thanksgiving food drive. You don't need me.
Yeah.
You don't see me like on the websites when I talk about these things. I'm not, because again, I told you earlier, I can't make it bigger than me if it's about me. Mm-hmm. And so each of the concepts are about the brand, the $100 tipping dinner, world's largest toy drive, 2 years too long to give away your clothes if it's been more than 2 years. None of them have Dan on them. Literally none of them. Because then it's capped at me.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing it for a pat in the back. I don't want a pat in the back. I want you to go do it. I want you to do a toy drive. I want you to do tipping dinners. And so the reason I do it is also the fact of the butterfly effect. I watch when I post about 2 years too long to give away your clothes after 2 years. Thousands of people tag me. And obviously tens of thousands of people don't tag me because they have no idea it's me, which is fantastic. The tipping dinners, it was like 4,000 or 5,000. We actually tracked it for a while. 4,000 or 5,000 people tagged me and Jimmy Rex for doing these tipping dinners. And obviously tens of thousands did it without us. And it was on the cover of like Apple News of someone else's doing the $100 tipping club. Woohoo! I don't care. I don't need it for me. I was excited because now millions more people will see the idea of doing $100 tipping clubs. And people will now start tipping their waiters, waitresses, and kitchen staff from this concept. So the butterfly effect is why I do it.
It's so inspiring, honestly. Like this is one of the reasons I love hanging out with you and being around you because you just think in such an abundance way. Just give. It's about service first. You know, you've had the beautiful opportunity recently to have a beautiful girl, daughter in your life, and your world is completely shifting in that arena. Tell me what the coolest thing is, because you and I talk about being a dad all the time. I love being a dad.
Well, now I get to wear sweaters with teddy bears on them.
That's it, right? I think this is the first time I've seen you almost without pink in the last 6 months.
Yeah, if they had a pink version, I'd be wearing it. It's, like, you'd appreciate this because it's about mindset. 40 or 50 people told me, when you have the baby, your mindset will be different and your heart will be different. I'm not that emotional of a guy. I've had 40 people pass away. And so I don't have that much emotion. I've lost it over the course of time. However, when the baby came, my mindset changed and my heart changed. Mm-hmm. And all of them were right. I literally can't think straight now. Like, if my phone was blaring, ringing with 100 text messages coming in and the baby's crying, I'm holding her, I couldn't even consider putting her down.
Yep.
Not even like 1%. And if that went on for an hour, my phone would keep ringing for an hour, and I don't care.
Sure.
Where for the last 42 years before that, you and I could be dearest friends, and I would go fix my phone. I'm sorry, no matter how close we are, I'm going to go put out the fires on my phone.
Yeah.
If my baby's crying, I couldn't care less about my phone.
That's it. That's the importance of priority, right? It just really just shifts your priority in such a big way. What do you think? You've done so much. You're already doing so much. What's next for Dan? Where do you go?
I'm just doing more of these joint ventures. I feel like I can see the matrix now for scaling stuff.
Yeah.
I can fix it. I can find it. I know the right manufacturer, the lawyer, the accountant, the website designer, the ads, the funnel, like whatever the thing is, I feel like I can fix it. Today, I'm doing 2 whiteboard sessions with people that have $20, $30 million houses. They're very, very wealthy. I'm going to 2 different houses today to whiteboard with them 2 different ideas of people that are already very successful. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like I can see the matrix. And we had an idea that we discussed with one of them, an idea discussed with the other person, and bada bing, bada boom, we're going to literally do it right now.
Awesome.
And so it's just part of me now is like, I feel I can do these type of joint ventures with people that it's either a niche that they've always wanted to do, or an idea they wanted to do, or an idea I wanted to do. And I would rather have 50% or less or more with someone and then bring on a CEO, the quarterback, to run it than me just like, I'm going to wait and do 100%. Why?
So good. So good. I don't know, but if you're sitting there watching this and you're thinking like, the gems, the bombs that he's been dropping has been absolutely gold, at least for me. I don't know about you guys, but for me, I've learned so much in this interview. Dan, so now you were also a partner in the Aspire Tour. Talk about that experience where you're talking to thousands of people every single week, basically, or month, excuse me.
Yep.
Like, tell me about that experience for yourself and what that means to you to be able to create that impact in entrepreneurship.
So Aspire Tour is fascinating. So Andrew Cordo and Eddie Wilson started January 2023. And I had already known Andrew for many, many years, I think like 5 or 6 years. And so the summer of 2023, I was speaking at one of their events, and then I just saw it like, wow, you guys are really being a full-fledged tour. This is very inspiring. So we talked it out over the next month or so and worked out a deal. And I just started bringing in celebrities and athletes and different friends, social media, et cetera. And it went from like 1,100 people to 1,800. So now we average around 3,000 per show, right? Anywhere from 2,400 to 4,000. And obviously we did like Madison Square Garden and Dallas. Those are some really big ones, even more than that. And so what they built, I just added the celebrities and athlete and the pizzazz, right? The sizzle to their steak. And it's just amazing the structure of what Aspire Tour is and the fact that the consistency of doing it month after month after month, city after city after city, and what it does for the people. Like the people get to show up for a one-day show and it doesn't feel like a normal business event. They're going to get to see Damon John. They're going to learn from Dr. Rewire. They're going to learn from Sarah Blakely. They're going to get to hear from different types of entrepreneurs. And in the middle of that, Andrew Cordo is teaching them about money and taxes and things that they need to hear about. Eddie Wilson is talking about how he exited for over $1 billion and talking about his real estate and his structure and why he does what he does and why accounting is important. And so we get to have like the meat and potatoes of what Andrew and Eddie talk about, and I'm there talking about personal brand or angel investing and things like that. And so the concept of the flow of it is really important to me because it gets more and more people into the room. And when they get in the room and they hear from people that they're inspired by, they'll actually go do it. Compared to they go into a room, it's all dim lighting, it's at the local Marriott hotel, nothing against the Marriott, but it's just like the experience isn't there.
Sure.
Aspire Tour is an experience. And that's what I'm really excited about.
I think you're so right. It is an experience. And actually, you know what? In Chicago, I took 100 people, brought about 100 people to the Aspire Tour to learn about business. And they were so grateful. Dan, they all said, thank you so much for taking this. Because it was opening their eyes to levels of business that they never heard. They heard Jesse Itzler speak. It was amazing. They heard, Cody Sanchez was amazing. They heard you. They heard Andrew. They heard Eddie. And they learned so much about business. And I think majority of them actually went and did the money course and that. And I don't know what else they did after that. But because there's such value in it, right? And that's why I actually, the cool thing is that you start at 7 a.m., you end at 7 p.m., but it is meat and potatoes the whole way through.
Yes.
It is meat and potatoes the whole way through. I think, one of the things that I would highly recommend, if you're sitting there watching and you're thinking, hey, where do you learn about Dan? We'll get some information. But if you're sitting there even thinking about how do you get more information about business, learning, all these types of tools, go check out the Aspire Tour. It comes around all over the U.S. It'll probably be in your city within the next year, if nothing, or if not, travel to it. Just take the day and go to it. I think I've been to 3 of them myself already, and I will go every single time because it's that valuable. It's really, really powerful.
I said watch the speakers myself.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a free education for you, right?
I'll be hanging out with them and then go watch front row because I want to learn from them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're my friend. So what? I want to hear what Damon John is saying. What is Jesse Itzler saying? What is Mark Cuban saying? What is Marcus Lemonis saying? Like, I want to learn from David Goggins. It doesn't matter if I'm hanging out with him backstage. I literally go sit front row. You'll see me.
But that's the mentality, right? Right, Dan? That's it. Like, smart people want to learn from other smart people.
For sure.
I'll say that no other way, but like people who think they know too much don't want to learn from anybody.
When I sit with the zillionaires and the billionaires and the big athletes and celebrities, the ones that are really successful, the entire conversation is them asking me questions. Because think about this for a second. Let's say you get to the pinnacle of your career. You're doing 10 million or 100 million or $1 billion, right? What if Dr. Rewire or Dan or someone can teach you something that changes your life by 1%?
Yeah.
But if you're doing $100 million, 1% is $1 million. Not once, forever. That changes you year after year. So you go from 100 million to 130, 130 to 200. You can extrapolate that up or down, right? Let's say you're doing 100 grand and you learn something that can make you an extra $1,000, $2,000. Well, next year you do 160, then you do 240. What if someone teaches you a little bit of how to save on your taxes and you save 3%? That doesn't go away. You know that trick now for the rest of your life.
That's it, for life.
And so the people that are successful, there's certain athletes that are zillionaires and other athletes that are bankrupt, right? You look at Magic Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Deion Sanders. These guys have built empires, right, and brands. They ask questions all the time. The other ones, sadly, have ego, big entourages, and big overhead. And they don't ask for the advice, or they don't get the lawyers, accountants, or surround themselves with a circle to ask advice. And so it's frustrating to me. I physically hate it, watching people lose a lot of their money by not asking questions, by not showing up, by not listening to other people. And so I'm obsessed, and that's why I sit front row.
It's true. Dan does. And I've seen it. I sat right next to him many times over. I sit right next to him and say, Dan, what are you learning? What are you thinking through? Because he's thinking about business in a whole different way. He's thinking about things in a very different light. And I hope that through this podcast, through this show today, you've gotten 1% better. Dan, where do people find you? Where do they learn more about you? How do they follow? How do they get involved in your world? We didn't even talk about your Operation Black site and all the other things that you do. But where do people learn more about you?
It's all just at Dan Fleyshman. It's also important for people. Try to have the same screen name across all 6 platforms. Have the same bio and the same bio photo to make it easier for people to remember. Yeah, so mine's just all Dan Fleyshman. Dan
Fleyshman, everywhere you go. Dan, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this. You're a friend, a mentor, and honestly, I really appreciate your time. And I hope you got a chance to really watch this thing again, because there were so many gems that were dropped. I'm going to watch it again, and I'm going to take notes on it this time. But I hope you got a lot of value in this. If you liked it, make sure that you follow Dan, follow Dr. Rewire. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.